Hey everyone, you're back here with Tim and Barry, Social News Network TV, and yeah, how are you today, Barry?
Good, good. How are you, everybody?
I'm sitting here with my TV in my TV team, Sweden, very professional studio in Falafel City, Aka
Yeah.
Malmö, Sweden,
Yeah,
and
I'm here in my super studio, SNN TV studio in America,
in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, that's good. So it's episode 5 here.
Yep.
And people have started to share and comment a little bit, and some of my Swedish subscribers say that they don't understand English that well, but it's okay, they learn and they can always Google Translate, I guess. But this is for our future American viewers, and I heard you said something that we have a few American subscribers already.
Yeah, some people from work and some family members, they're all subscribing. So they're watching us, and I told them to make sure they put on the notification of when we post a new podcast.
Exactly. That's what everybody needs to do to help us, to subscribe and share with people that you think could be interested in our channel, and yeah, let people know that we're building this channel now. This is only episode 5, but we will grow, and it's about America, Sweden, and the world basically. And I think that a lot of channels are talking about the same things all the time, every day, day in and day out. And I think it's good that you and me have already decided to be kind of wide and talk about all kinds of different things. But today, I think we have to answer some of your friends and families and questions about the war, Sweden and Finland. And I also know that you have some questions about what's going on with this.
Well, the good thing about our platform is it's an international platform where it's Sweden's perspective on the world and the current events, and it's America's perspective from my end. But one of the obviously global things that is going on right now is the invasion of Russia, of Ukraine from Russia.
Yeah.
And on the news over the weekend, I wanted to get your perspective because a lot of Americans are talking about this now, is Sweden and Finland joining NATO. And so I wanted to get your perspective, like, why haven't they done that already? I think you might have some type of an agreement where it's a security agreement. Is that what it's called?
Well, first of all, I have just recently started to learn more and more about Sweden and NATO in that relationship. So what I have is the latest information as far as I understand our government and our media, but I can tell you what I know and what I think. And what I think from the beginning is that Sweden has always tried to be neutral politically wise, sort of a little fake in a way, because we actually helped Hitler and Germany, because when they said, we won't bomb the shit out of you and we won't invade you, we'll just take Norway and Denmark if you let us run through with our trains. And we let them run through us and take our friends and our neighbors. And we sold them steel and iron so they could make more guns and kill our friends and our neighbors. Super neutral, right? And we have Bofors gun company, weapons company, and we have sold weapons to Iran and Iraq. While our prime minister, if you remember Olof Palme, who got murdered in 1986,
vaguely,
he was a UN sort of a, what do you call it? Not a broker, but you know what I mean. He was supposed to talk to both countries, Iraq
like
and
an
Iran.
Ambassador or mediator.
Yeah, but at the same time, he sold guns to them both. So it was pretty weird. And in this situation where we are now, I think that our government has made a big mistake. Out of all the mistakes we do, we send 5,000 sort of stingers to Ukraine, and then we send another 5,000 a few weeks ago, and we tell Putin, we tell the Russians in our news media that, yeah, we're going to support Ukraine and send more weapons. If we already have a written agreement with NATO that we are all about NATO except the member paying our 2% BNP, which Trump was mad as hell about, why should America pay if nobody else is paying their full fee?
Exactly.
So now the situation is that Finland, as you know, is pretty, they have a long border to Russia.
Yep.
And we have the big ocean there, but in the north, we have a border to Finland. So we are sort of in the middle there between Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and then Finland and Russia. So now Finland wants to join NATO because they feel that if they're not a part of NATO, if Russia just decides to take Finland, they're in the same situation as Ukraine, that if you're not a part of NATO, you don't get military help. You only get weapons and food and blankets and stuff. So then Sweden is saying, if Finland joins, we will join. But 50% of Swedes are hesitant or negative to it. I'm sort of hesitant, not negative, and 50% is positive. Because the reason this war between Russia and Ukraine is in the first place is because NATO and EU and this side, so to say, the Western side, they have pushed Russia for years. Putin has had one request: don't bring in Ukraine to NATO, because I don't want to have NATO's nuclear weapons and other things close to the Russian border, like 1 yard from the Russian border.
Right.
So instead of being smart, Ukraine should have been smart, I think, stayed neutral, possibly a part of the EU, the European Union, but not the weapon situation with NATO. So they pushed to become a member. And then Russia just said, before it's too late, we're going to invade and take back what's ours, the old history, parts of Russia, Donbass, the problem they have with the Nazis down there in Mariupol and those cities. That's one of the reasons Putin is doing this. I'm not defending Putin. I'm saying that's his reason.
Okay.
If we join NATO, when Finland, we could have this done by June, they say. Well, we have the situation that, yes, we will be defended by US, England, and France, those three countries with nukes. And we will get military support from every other country if we get invaded. But here's the thing. Putin have said the same thing to us in Finland. As long as you don't join NATO, as long as you don't send weapons to Ukraine, we don't need you. We're not going to invade. So if I think, to try to keep this as short as I can, I think it's a big mistake to join NATO for safety reasons.
Yeah, but you can't trust Putin. If he says he won't do anything to you, he said that to Ukraine as well.
No, he didn't say that to Ukraine. He said, if you continue and push that you are going to apply to become a NATO member, then I will invade you. And US pushed them to apply, England pushed them to apply, the whole of the EU pushed Ukraine, you're going to be a Western country, so and so on. Nobody really looked at Ukraine. It's a really bad country when it comes to trafficking, drugs, violence, Nazis. Corruption. It's not a clean, good country as the Western media, the mainstream media is trying to get Americans to think. It's a shitty fucking country with lots of problems. Not to defend Putin in any way, but it's in one way their own fault that they're being invaded. And I'm saying, if we join NATO with Finland, I truly believe that Russia will put fucking thousands of nukes on the Finnish border. Then we are in a situation, we can get help from NATO, but what help is that? Help with nukes? Because if everything comes down to nukes, then it's going to be a Cold War that will last forever. That's how I see it.
Well, there's going to be nothing left of Finland.
So you see, we don't have to trust Putin. Putin has no interest in Sweden and Finland if we don't join NATO.
Right.
He will move his subs close to Gotland, our big island there out in between us, and he will push nukes. And if he is as crazy as people think, why do I want to have nukes next door when I don't have it now? I don't know. It's a tricky question. It's really, really tricky. But just to say it like this, people are scared now.
Sure.
I think that if Finland applies to become a member, it will be speeded up in a 2-month
expedited,
exactly. And then Sweden will do the same, and we'll all become NATO. Part of NATO. And I see it as a big problem, but the biggest problem right now is, what will Russia do with Ukraine if we join NATO? Because I see a part here that they might just be happy with Donbass and that eastern area north of Crimea. But if we join NATO, I'm really, really scared that they will just blow out the whole of Ukraine and take the whole thing. So they have a borderline to Poland and the Baltic countries, and then up to us. Yeah. So I think it can be worse, this war, and take many, many years if we join NATO and Finland. But it is a tricky situation.
What a nightmare. What an absolute nightmare. Who would have ever thought in 2022?
That's what I said. I mean, it looks like in the 30s and 40s in Germany.
Yeah.
It's so unmodern in a way. But on the other hand, the Yugoslavian war was between the Serbs, Croatians, and the Muslims in Bosnia. And in the 90s, I said the same thing. What? I thought we were done with these ground troops and stupid gun wars.
Tanks and all that stuff, and missiles and artillery.
So just to do a little tennis game here between us, I'll throw the ball over to you. How happy are Americans with your southern border then?
Not at all. Not at all. I think they had a few thousand the other day, and I think they came across like 25 were on a terrorist watch list. 25. All you need is one.
Exactly.
25 came over in one day that were on our terrorist watch list, the CIA watch list. I mean, how messed up is that? It's gotten so bad that now even some of the Democrats are starting to say to Joe Biden, hey, you got to do something now. This is out of control.
You know, it's been 16 months since he moved into the White House. And as everybody can see here in our intro and outro, which I did after watching Bill O'Reilly, which I do every week. And yesterday I just, watched his episode, and I made this compilation here, or this slide, just because I wanted to show Swedes that, my God, your gas prices and food prices and things, that has the inflation in America is long overdue, so to say. It didn't start with the war in Ukraine.
No. It started as soon as he got into office, and as soon as he started dissolving or canceling all of Donald Trump's policies.
So one question that I have for you, Barry, which I think is very hard to answer, since I don't hear any answer from Fox, Newsmax, Dan Bongino, Bill O'Reilly. I don't really hear the answers to this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway and see what you can come up with. How is it possible that Kamala Harris, Biden, all of them, Shifty Schiff, Chuck Schumer, Jerry Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, and AOC +3, all of these super Democrats, and the young ones are the worst.
Yeah.
How can't they see that their own country is falling apart with their policies that they're forcing onto the people?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that, just like everyone else doesn't. I don't understand the mentality of their thinking. I don't understand.
How much is just hate for Trump?
A lot of it is hate for Trump, but at the same time, a lot of it is the Green New Deal. They all want to get away from fossil fuel. Well, you just can't get away from fossil fuel with one president. It's going to take decades. And you just can't implement your policies, strict policies, to the point where you're strangling the nation. You cannot strangle the nation. This has to be a very slow process to weed out fossil fuels if you want to do that, because goods and services have to be distributed across the United States. And in order to do that, you have to have trucks, and you have to have trains, and you have to have airplanes. And it's just, you just can't say I'm weeding out fossil fuels, because then everything's going to go up. As soon as gas starts going up, well, guess what? It takes gas to make deliveries to your grocery store. It takes gas to make deliveries to Walmart. Okay, somehow the goods and products have to get distributed around the United States. And that's how everything starts. It all starts by moving products. And by trying to get away from fossil fuel and gas, the gas prices go up, everybody gets affected by it, Democrats and Republicans. But the Democrats don't seem to care. I don't think they care in Washington.
And I have another question that is in relation to this, like the stupid people in Biden's government, they dropped guns and weapons for $85 billion in Afghanistan. Now they say that they're gonna support Ukraine with another $85 billion.
Yep.
And they print money to right and left for everything. And Bill O'Reilly just said in this episode yesterday that he thinks that the Biden government will send everybody, all of the Democrats, people like, let's say you or anybody who is just a person, will get sort of a check for $400, $500, $600 just a month or two before the election in November. But is that really going to do it this time?
No.
Don't people see through that?
That's not going to do it. As a matter of fact, you know what, it was a great interview of, I think he was a translator on Fox News from Afghanistan, and he was held in prison. And he said he agreed that it was a huge mistake to leave all that stuff around, because he says the Taliban is now driving around in our Humvees and in our tanks and in our helicopters. He says leaving that behind was the worst possible thing, because now the Taliban is stronger than ever.
Yeah. And there's another thing that Trump said on the rally in Selma in North Carolina that for every thing you do in America and what we do here in Europe to try to, pollute the world less, bring down environmental pollution, and carbon and all of that stuff. For every 10% we cut it, India, Russia, and China increases it 30-40% the same week.
Oh, probably.
So it's like ridiculous. It's like if you throw 2,000 cigarette butts on the street and you clean up 100, and the next day another 2,000 come and you clean up 100. What's the point then?
Right.
So something is
this just can't be an American thing. India's not doing anything. China's not doing anything.
We are the wokest country in Europe. People laugh at Sweden, Barry. We are a joke. You can't even believe. Did you see what happened with these Muslim terrorists this weekend?
No.
This has been the first Easter in Sweden history. Jesus is crying like worse than he did on the cross. I can tell you that. This is ridiculous. We have people from Syria, Iraq. People from Iran are pretty cool, actually. Afghanistan and many other countries.
Okay.
We have mosques in Sweden. We have a cellar mosque. We don't even know how many they are. They apply and they apply and they apply. It's forbidden now in most Swedish schools to have pork on the menu for the kids. They got that through. You know what they also got through? Boys and girls can't be in the same swimming pool 3 days a week at regular swimming
camp.
Yeah, if you go to these rides and slides and these
like an amusement park.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have boys and girls in the same. We have something that we call as a joke on YouTube here in Sweden. We call it how do I translate it? Balcony flyers. You know what a balcony flyer is?
No.
It's Muslim families. Seriously, we have clans here from Afghanistan. They throw down their daughters and kill them. They throw them down from their balconies if they talk to Swedish boys. Seriously, I'm not even joking. And they kill their own daughters and they do other things.
Well, why can't they be arrested?
They don't give a shit. They have Sharia laws. They don't give a fuck about our laws. So this is what happened this weekend here. There is this Danish guy who is actually Danish-Swedish. He has this thing that he wants to bug the Muslims by burning up the Quran.
Yeah,
so he comes to Malmö and he comes to Stockholm and he does this to provoke. And he's using the First Amendment, as you call it, free speech, that you're allowed to burn shit. So you can burn any book, but not for Muslims. They don't accept. You can burn the Bible, but not the Quran. So what happens is that all these Muslims, they come out in thousands. They start with 10, then they're 200, and they're a couple of thousand. And when the police comes in their big vans and stuff like that, they throw Molotov cocktails on the police. They throw rocks on the police. They shoot the police, and the police is backing down. And so we back down one block, so not more people will become injured. And everybody is screaming, why don't you shoot them? Why don't you at least shoot them with rubber bullets? yeah, why don't you take them to jail and deport them back to the fucking sand desert where they came from? Why do we let them take over Sweden? Oh, you can't do this, Muhammad, Al Akbar, and this old shit. And we just let them do this.
You're going to lose your country.
They burn up buses. Hundreds of Swedish cars are burning every night in 10, 20 different cities. And the police don't do nothing.
That's crazy. See, we would never hear that in America. Our news outlets will never broadcast that kind of information.
Because you accept your democratic people
right.
In, where was it? It was in Seattle, it was in Oregon and Minnesota. You accepted for 2 years, not you, but you know, American Democrats, that you burned down cities and blamed it on Trump.
Right.
And if we say that we want to deport these Muslims that are burning down our cities and, you know, doing things against the police and the fire department and the ambulances, then 50% of the Swedish Social Democrat, you know, like my neighbors, oh, you're racist?
Yeah, exactly.
How the F am I a racist because I want the peace and calm on my streets?
That's insane. You're going to have to, your government or your leaders are going to have to change that, because you're going to lose your country.
In Malmö, where I live now, I have a sort of a segment on my TV Team Sweden channel that I do. I call it my window out to Malmö.
Okay.
And I say that on the bank out here, and I see Muslim women with these clothes that they have, burqas, and I call it garbage bags, because the people from Somalia, they're like, it's just a sheet all over them. They look like penguins from, I don't know what. But anyway, so that's just clothes. Okay, they're entitled to have those clothes, but they have a husband, because they're all pregnant all the time, and they all have baby carriages, and they have all 2, 4, 6 children running around them screaming. And these burqa women, they work in every bank in Sweden, every drugstore, every little store you're going to. I cannot count to 30, Barry, anywhere in Malmö, not even the good places anymore. I can't count to 30 before I see Muslims. And it's the same now in Stockholm, Gothenburg, Enköping, Linköping, Jönköping, all of these old Swedish traditional cities that are 1,000 or 1,500 years old cities. Mm-hmm. It's all fucking Muslims all over the place, and well,
that's their whole Islamic faith, is to take over the world, generation by generation by generation. That's why they all have like 8 to 10 kids.
Exactly, that's one.
And those 10 kids will grow up and they'll have 10 kids.
And if you are between 15 and 30, and you can go out on the streets throwing rocks at the police and Molotov cocktails, fire, gasoline bombs. Mm-hmm. If you can do that, and they give you coffee and a pizza, and they want to talk you into being calm, instead of throwing them in jail and telling them, you and your whole family will be deported if you do this even one more time.
Right.
Oh, you can't do that, because the law says fuck the laws. Our Swedish laws were written thousands of years ago, almost like 800 years ago. They don't apply to today's society. We didn't have any Muslims then with Sharia laws that are saying, well, if you don't like it, we'll throw a gas bomb on your face. Yes, I mean, how are we going to do this if the majority of the government say, oh, you're racist to this situation? Now they're actually starting to change a little bit, because the police just started 2 days ago to use these, what do you call this gas? Tear gas and some other stuff. But we really need to put on the black gloves. I actually have the recipe for this, because there is only one way we can solve this. It's to lease. We have to lease in like 10,000 police from Israel. Israel police with a yellow Jewish star. Then they will know what a police is, because those police are military trained, while these young Swedish police guys, listen to this. When I go out and I talk to police in Malmö, half of them look like they come from the Middle East. They don't do shit against their own people.
No, they won't. Doesn't Sweden have like a national guard?
No,
like we have
we
here.
have woke rainbow police. They're all fucking transsexual, and they go in these pride things in the summer with our prime minister leading the whole thing, while these hairy faggots have balls in their mouths and the rub. I don't even want to talk about it. It's too disgusting.
Yeah, you're getting carried away.
It's disgusting. That's why I'm trying to ask you and tell everybody else. I have this little place in Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic, and I have to flee. You know, not only am I being overrun by Muslims, but I have Putin up my ass too.
You're about to get nuked.
Shit. Oh, it's terrible. I apologize for the language, but I mean, when you get frustrated enough, you know, I try to joke about it, but it's a terrible situation, really.
Yeah. This is good that we're having this conversation, because Americans will never hear this. That's what I like, this international platform that you and I are putting together for this podcast. I think our platform to go back and forth with stories from Sweden, authentic stories, because we would never hear this from CNN or MSNBC or anything. We probably not even Fox. So
I remember you asked me about that, about, you know, CNN and so on. And it's not that Fox or Newsmax is forbidden here. I can go into any computer and just type newsmax.com and I can follow it live 24 hours. But most people don't even know what Newsmax is in Sweden.
Right.
And what I meant with CNN was that, if you remember, they recently lost that plan. But for the past 30 years, CNN has been the only show on every airport in America.
Right, right.
So if you didn't have Fox News there during the Trump rallies and the elections, and if we have sort of a cable TV situation here in Sweden with, like you have Comcast and so on, if we have Comhem, which is similar, we can choose to have extra channels. CNN is one of those, Sky News and British News, but we cannot choose Fox and Newsmax. And when I call them and say, well, we don't want to have those ultra right wing channels.
Really? Not even as an extra.
Yeah, and you can't even
what you have is similar to us. We have basic cable.
Basic cable, but in the extra, when you buy like a box and you subscribe for channels, those companies in Sweden don't add Newsmax and Fox because they're too ultra right wing for them. So we can't even see people. That's why I am on my channel, TV Team Sweden, I'm promoting Right Side Broadcasting Network, that they show live all of the Trump rallies. Because when I explain to people about Trump and his results and follow this side and follow that side, a lot of people come back to me and say that, wow, I didn't know this about Trump. He's really good and so on. Yeah. I only heard that he was a sexist and that he hated Mexicans and, you know, shit like that. That's all we hear.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We got to continue this. We have to continue this, because now they're all, if it's not Trump, they're going after our governor in Florida, DeSantis.
Yeah.
Because they're going after him left all day long. The left is going after him.
I heard Bill Maher the other day. He talked about all of the people on the street, the homeless people in California.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's really bad with needles and drugs and feces on the street and all that shit. And if you see that in California, and the Rubin report, Dave Rubin, and everybody's moving to Florida, if you have an open, free state like Florida, how is it possible that anybody votes for Gary Newsom or whatever his name is in California?
I don't know. And you know what's even taken that one step farther is, I think he might run for president. That's how.
That would be great.
Yeah, that's how bad it's gotten. The left is just, they don't have a hero anymore. Like the right, Trump is the hero for the right. But the hero for the left is probably California.
I seriously think that if this what's his name, Gavin Newsom?
Yes. He
would be eaten up by like a little pancake. Trump would kill him easy. But I think it could be tight if it was DeSantis and Newsom. That's why I think it's better that Trump wins another time and then Newsom comes as being vice president, let's say, and he'll do it in another 4 years. If Trump wins, even though it was 4 years in between now with Biden, he cannot run again, right? It's maximum 8 years total.
No, it's consecutive.
Is it?
Yeah.
So he could actually sit 12 years.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is. It's not a maximum of 8 years. It's maximum of 2 terms consecutive.
Oh, we got to find that. That's a very interesting question. Please look that up till next episode, because I do not know that. Okay. I thought it was total of 8, but that's very interesting because, okay, Trump is old, but he is not even close to demented when it comes to Biden. He's a joke.
And so there's rumors going around also that, you know, the left wants Obama to come back. And he served 8 years consecutive. Okay,
so that would be cool because
I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up, because Obama, when he was in the White House a few weeks ago, wasn't that embarrassing to see that nobody cared about Biden at all?
Yeah, he's like a lost soul, just standing there looking around for somebody to talk to when everyone was talking to Obama.
Steve Bannon and what's the other guy's name? Jim Jordan and all of these Republicans, they said that after watching this in the White House, they said, now it's confirmed. Biden is president. I mean, Obama is president.
Yeah.
He's running
his policies. He's running everything probably through, what's her name? Susan Rice.
Susan Rice, yeah.
Susan Rice is in the White House as a cabinet member, and I think she's running the show.
But I also heard that if you need to remove Biden with the 25th Amendment, or let's say that he gets really hard what's it called that they did to Trump?
Impeachment.
If they impeach him, well, the Senate still needs a 2/3% majority, right?
Right.
But even if they impeach him, and if they decide to remove him with the 25th, whatever it's called, in case it gets too bad, then nobody wants Kamala Harris, right?
No, she's worse.
And if both of them would die in a plane crash, which they don't because they don't fly together, but if something happened to both Kamala and Joe, then it's Nancy Pelosi, right?
Yeah.
That's even worse. She's really crazy.
Yep. And I think if the Republicans take the Senate and take the House this fall, next year, they're basically just going to tell Biden to be quiet, shut up and stay in the basement.
And they even said that if he starts to write the executive orders, Trump has the majority in the Supreme Court, right?
Yes.
Regarding those things. Yeah. I mean, people in Sweden don't know how this works. I'm just starting to learn. I mean, I've learned so much about American politics, as you know, since 2016. I didn't know a lot before that. And I want you to know more about Swedish and European politics, because you don't get that information in the States.
We don't get anything like that.
Because we have, you know, we have it's a Norwegian boss over NATO, you know, Stoltenberg.
No.
He's Norwegian.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have EU, the European Union.
Mm-hmm.
There is a new chancellor in Germany, Schulz, I think his name is. And the guy in Austria, he's worse than this guy, Adolf. He really went out and put $3,500 fines on everybody that was not vaccinated. And he told them they couldn't go out, they couldn't go to work. He was like a Nazi. He was like as bad as Scott Morrison was in Australia. And what's that little dog's name? The Cuban guy in Canada. They say he's Castro's son. What's his name? The president, prime minister in Canada.
Prime Minister. I forget. I know it.
Yeah, it'll come to me. Trudeau. Castro,
very good.
Trudeau. He's a real Nazi, that guy too.
Yeah,
I cannot believe how these people can win anything.
I don't know. Trudeau got in, I think, just because his father was.
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen those pictures where a lot of people are stating that he's Castro's son? You know.
No, I haven't.
But it's actually it's like this is like a real possibility. Compared to, well, I don't know about Trump if he was right when he said that Obama was born in Africa. I mean, all of these, when I see the corruption regarding the Dr. Fauci thing and the pandemic and the lies about what these vaccines are, what's included and this, when I see all the corruption, I seriously don't believe anything anymore. If I don't seat myself.
It's all run by the pharmaceuticals and the big tech, the pharma companies.
To end this episode here, I have a question from some of my viewers.
Okay.
Some of my viewers are asking me, or some are even saying, why do you believe that Trump is more free than the swamp he's trying to drain? Who is running Trump? What would you answer those people who thinks that Trump is just a puppet to someone else? And who would that be running Trump then?
Well, I think Trump realizes what the swamp is all about, and he's a disruptor. And so I think he, with his business mind, his business mind cannot look at the federal government without saying, if this was a company, this company would be bankrupt. Exactly. This company would get a failed rating, an F. And that's our federal government gets an F. And for a businessman to come in and say, I'm going to restore the prosperity of America and get America back on its feet before we start worrying about what's going on around the world. Washington hates that. Washington, D.C., the swamp, our intelligence agencies. I said this before in our episodes before. They do not want to change. They're running Washington, and then Washington is running the nation. And when someone like Trump comes in, and he doesn't have to answer to any lobbyists because he doesn't need their money, didn't take their money. He doesn't have to answer to anybody, and they can't stand that.
So in that answer, you didn't really answer like a politician, but what you're trying to say is that you don't think that anybody's running Trump. He's his own man.
No, I think he's his own man, and he's going to surround himself with smart business people and not government people. Yeah,
he was a little, what shall we say? He was a rookie when he won the first time.
Yeah, now I think
he knows what it takes, right?
He knows how Washington works now. Before he really didn't. He started appointing, people that were loyal to him in his campaign, like Jeff Sessions. Yeah, that guy as Attorney General.
He was a little fake, that guy.
He was the worst. That was the biggest mistake because he let that whole Mueller investigation go through.
Yeah, he recused himself.
He said that, the Democrats came after him, full speed ahead, and he panicked and he backed down and all this stuff. And that was the worst mistake Trump ever did.
Yeah, because he trusted too many people in the beginning there until he realized. But just to finish this off, I heard something else. I think it was from Bill O'Reilly. He said again, I know a lot of people don't like Bill O'Reilly, but he's really, really focused on true news. He's trying to be fair. And he had a really good interview with his sort of enemy, but best friend, Geraldo, the other day.
Okay.
They talked about the war in Ukraine and Russia and so on. But then they talked about the salary that Joe Biden is taking as being president. Trump never took his salary.
Right.
He gave that money to different charities, if I understand it correctly. But here's what Bill O'Reilly said yesterday, which I think is really concerning. And all these people, they seem so secure. They don't seem scared of anything. I don't know if Biden even knows what's going on, seriously. But they say that when you look at the tax return for Joe Biden as vice president and up till today, president, he's paying his taxes.
Yeah.
He is paying his taxes, but he is not including any of the money that he got from Hunter for 10 years, from China, Russia, and Ukraine. And that's, what do you call it, tax evasion?
Yeah, he's hiding it. He has a number of different corporations, like S corporations, that he funnels a lot of that money through. So he's just basically declaring basic taxes. But all of his business deals.
If they impeach him, and one of the things is taxes, they can prove that he got money from Hunter's scoundrel businesses, then he could be in bad shape.
Yeah. Yeah, the walls are closing in.
It's kind of interesting that everything they tried to put on Trump, they're getting back much harder now.
Yeah, it's all backfiring. It's like one big boomerang. It's all coming back to bite him in the ass.
Yeah, it's terrible. Okay, so I got to run, but this was good. We are learning more and more how we think and how we talk and how we can do this. And I think that from now on, we're going to start to do topics and have our viewers comment and ask us questions, what they want to hear for next week and so on. And I think that we should have one Swedish story, what happened last week, and one American story, so that you check the most important things in the States. I check the most important things in sort of Sweden EU thing, and we'll keep everybody updated about the war from other perspectives, because the news is telling everybody what's going on regarding the war. But what's interesting for Swedish people, I think, is to hear from you, what do Americans feel and think about that war?
Yep, absolutely.
That's what they don't get.
That's what I like, the two sides of everything.
Yeah. Okay, so
good.
Everybody, don't forget now to subscribe and share and click the notification bell, and
click the
try to help us and try to help us build. We need to go up to 1,000 as soon as possible, so we can buy back a green screen.
two green screens background, so we don't look like we're out of space.
Yeah, I think we can afford that, but still, it's good to get the help of our subscribers, and it's very interesting. So what is today? It's just been Easter, and we are close. Do you remember Swedish Midsummer? Do you remember what that is?
Yeah.
That's in June, and
you always have parties, midsummer parties.
Big parties, and the similarity with Christmas, Easter, and Midsummer is that those traditions and those weekends are when we eat a lot of herring and eggs and that type of food.
Do you remember we had a midsummer's party when we were down in South Beach, down in Miami?
Absolutely. We had all of these Swedish traditional food, but
with the bartenders from the Clevelander
and pool parties and
stuff. We had a big picnic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Outside. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, lots of things are still good in Sweden, but if we don't watch out, and if America doesn't watch out with your southern border, we have too many people that are not supposed to be in our countries.
Yeah.
And it's terrible to say that, because I'm definitely not a racist or anything like that. I have friends from all over the world, but when I see that a religion or an ideology, as I say, is trying to take over and change my country into something else, I don't like that.
Do you remember years ago in one of your old apartments that I came to? So I've been to Sweden, what, like 4 times?
Yeah, I think so.
4 or 5 times. And one of your apartments was next to a big mosque, and they were doing a call to prayer. And I was just like, what the world is that?
Well, actually,
it wasn't church bells. It was the call to prayer.
Yeah, but that's not the minarets are not allowed in Sweden. But this was the place in Stockholm where they got permission one time. I think it was like in the early 90s, actually, even, because it was Turks at that point.
Okay.
And you were there. It was winter time, and we were watching the Super Bowl. I remember it, but that's not common. They have mosques in Sweden, but they don't have the right to call out, the Allah Akbar thing.
Yeah.
But they got some temporary permissions many years back. That stopped, but that's what they apply for every week to the government. Oh, we want to shout out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good.
Okay, so we'll do another episode then. Either this weekend or early next week then.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Take care, everybody. And as I say on TV Team Sweden, peace, love, and understanding.
Peace out, everyone. Okay.
Ciao.
Goodbye.